Lately, more spies of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, have been exposed in Western countries. It has been reported that the FBI has arrested the female CCP spy, Yanqing Ye, who had been wanted since 2020, although the FBI has not officially confirmed this yet. The FBI has accused Yanqing Ye of engaging in espionage activities for the Chinese Communist government while studying and conducting research at Boston University. Alongside her, Harvard professor Charles Lieber, who had a cooperative relationship with her, has also been apprehended. According to information released by the FBI, Yanqing Ye, who is now 34 years old, studied in the departments of physics, chemistry, and bioengineering at Boston University from October 2017 to April 2019. She concealed her background as a People's Liberation Army (PLA) lieutenant and her previous attendance at the PLA's National University of Defense Technology during her application for admission. The National University of Defense Technology is known for its involvement in the modernization of the CCP's military and advanced weapons research. During her time at Boston University, she collaborated with high-ranking PLA officers, professors from various disciplines, and quasi-military personnel on research projects. Some of these research projects were identified by the U.S. Department of Defense as having potential military applications. She transmitted American documents and information to the CCP. The FBI issued a nationwide warrant for Yanqing Ye on January 28, 2020, with charges including foreign government espionage, visa fraud, and false statements. Harvard professor Charles Lieber is also facing charges for failing to disclose his involvement in the CCP's Thousand Talents program when applying for contracts with the U.S. Department of Defense and National Institutes of Health. These espionage cases often have ties to the CCP's Thousand Talents program. Over the years, the CCP government has utilized this program to recruit Chinese scientists living abroad and exploit Chinese students studying in Western universities and research institutions to steal foreign advanced research findings and intelligence. As these incidents continue to come to light, the U.S. government has been tightening visa scrutiny for Chinese individuals. Upon arriving at U.S. airports, law enforcement officers not only inspect their phones and computers, but also repeatedly question them about their fields of study and any affiliations with the Communist Party or Communist Youth League. According to the Chinese embassy in the U.S., since November of the previous year, Chinese students have been interrogated and deported by U.S. border enforcement officers at Washington Dulles International Airport. At least 8 Chinese students have been repatriated, with their visas canceled, and they are prohibited from re-entering the U.S. for 5 years. Similar espionage-related cases have been surfacing in North America. Recently, a Canadian court ruled against a Chinese student's entry due to the potential espionage risk. In August 2023, another Chinese woman, Jing Zhang, was accused of engaging in espionage activities in Canada, even meddling in Canadian affairs, leading to her deportation for security reasons. The Thousand Talents program has gained notoriety in Canada as well. In December 2020, it was reported by Canadian Global News that senior executives of the Chinese company CanSino Biologics were part of the Thousand Talents program. The program's objective is to transfer Western research and knowledge to China using incentives such as salaries, funding, or other benefits. It is now known that senior members of CanSino Biologics were involved in the development of Canadian COVID-19 vaccines. Several former Canadian national security officials have revealed that scientists from CanSino Biologics were under Beijing's command and tasked with collecting foreign confidential technological information. According to one former Canadian national security official, the National Research Council of Canada, NRC, which was responsible for cooperating with CanSino Biologics, noticed warning signs and terminated the collaboration in August 2020. The reason was that Chinese officials did not send CanSino Biologics vaccine for testing in Canada. The founders of CanSino Biologics, Xue Xuefeng and Zhu Hai, have been listed as members of the CCP's Thousand Talents program. While the program appears to be primarily aimed at attracting top talent with substantial financial incentives, the United States has strong suspicions of its involvement in espionage and infiltration missions. In fact, the CCP government has been establishing footholds overseas and deploying party organizations to study or steal Western technology for the past 2 decades. Party organizations have been established within universities such as the University of Toronto and the University of British Columbia in Canada, and the Canada-China Science and Technology Association serves as a contact point. On the surface, Chinese students come to engage in research and pursue doctoral degrees, funded by the state and affiliated with CCP organizations. Through science and technology associations, they establish contacts with foreign research institutions and advanced researchers. If they cannot buy high-tech valuable information, they resort to theft. The CCP has been playing this game for over 2 decades. Recently, the Federal Court of Canada ruled to deny entry to another Chinese student, Yanqing Ye, due to potential espionage risk. He was a student at Beijing Aerospace University and obtained a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering in 2020. His student visa application background check was denied by the Canadian Department of Immigration due to the belief that he might engage in espionage activities detrimental to Canadian interests. This ruling has garnered support from many Canadians, and experts believe it will have a profound impact on scientific cooperation between Canada and China, with potential national implications. China's interference in Western affairs has become increasingly concerning. A total of 85 overseas research institutes from China have been singled out by Canada, including renowned Chinese universities and research institutions such as Beijing Institute of Technology, Nanjing University of Science and Technology, Northwestern Polytechnical University, University of Electronic Studies and Technology of China, and the China Aerodynamics Research and Development Center. Due to Canada's leading-edge research and its openness, there is a possibility that foreign entities mentioned above might exploit Canada, leading to the misuse of research and damage to Canada's security. These potential risks should not be underestimated. In an effort to solidify national security, the Canadian government has implemented regulations starting this spring that will deny federal government funding to researchers in 11 fields, including artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and advanced weaponry, if they collaborate with overseas institutions listed in the regulations. Canada has been vigilant in its dealings with Beijing in the past, as Canadian intelligence agencies have issued warnings that the CCP might exploit academic research partnerships to acquire cutting-edge technology, bolstering its economic and military advantage. Apart from the CCP-sponsored students who act as spies, nearly all Chinese community organizations in North America, especially the Fujian community, are essentially arms of the CCP's overseas intelligence apparatus. Their main organization is the Chinese consulates in various locations. Last year, the president of the American Fujian Association, Liu Jianwang, and the general secretary of the American Changhua Association, Chen Jinping, were found to have worked secretly for the CCP in Manhattan, New York. Both face multiple charges, including conspiracy to act as agents of the CCP, carrying a maximum prison term of 25 years. According to documents submitted by the FBI to the Eastern District of New York Federal Court, Liu Jianwang's phone contained photos of ceremonies commemorating the opening of overseas police stations in 5 countries, including Canada. The affidavit supporting the arrest warrant also revealed other photos on the phone of associated presidents in Spain, France, Canada, and the Netherlands. Canada is actively investigating criminal activities involving alleged CCP police stations. CCP police stations have emerged in London, Rome, Tokyo, and other cities worldwide, openly infringing upon the sovereignty of other nations. Not only in North America, but also in Australia, the presence of CCP spies is evident. On December 19, 2023, the County Court of Victoria in Australia convicted Melbourne Chinese community leader Di Sangdong of preparing or planning to engage in foreign interference. This charge is related to a donation of 37,450 Australian dollars during the COVID-19 pandemic in June 2020, when Di Sangdong arranged for then Acting Minister of Immigration and Multicultural Affairs, Alan Tudge, to receive the donation on behalf of the Royal Melbourne Hospital from community organizations. Di Sangdong, as the chairman of the Federation of Oceania Chinese Associations, believed Tudge might become the future Prime Minister of Australia. Federal prosecutor Patrick Doyle told the jury that Di Sandong was recruited by the CCP United Front Work Department, and the purpose of the donation was to establish a relationship with Tudge to enhance the CCP's influence on Australian politics. The 68-year-old Di Sandong entered Australia in 1980 as a Vietnamese refugee, formerly a member of the Australian Conservative Liberal Party, holding positions in multiple Chinese community organizations. He is a well-known leader in the local Asian community and has been linked to organizations under the CCP United Workfront Department. CCP infiltration in the Chinese-Australian community has been pervasive. Australia's 2018 Foreign Influence Transparency Scheme Act requires political lobbyists to register with authorities if they are working for foreign governments and significantly increases penalties for espionage activities. It is widely believed that this law is aiming at countering Beijing's influence. Di Sandong has been granted bail after being convicted and will return to court for sentencing in February this year, facing up to 10 years in prison. According to the Australia Foreign Influence Transparency Scheme Act, foreign interference activities harm Australia's national interests and are conducted on behalf of foreign governments in secret. Law enforcement authorities stated that investigating foreign interference activities remains a top priority for the Australian Federal Police. When the act was submitted to Parliament, then Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull cited allegations of CCP interference in Australian politics and universities, which infuriated Beijing and led to a diplomatic backlash. In the UK, the presence of CCP spies is also evident. In September 2023, The Times exposed British researcher Chris Cash. Cash worked in Parliament and was arrested on espionage charges by intelligence agencies, accused of providing intelligence to China. Cash had appeared critical of the CCP in the UK political arena and served as the director of the China Research Group, which has a significant impact on the UK's China policy. He had close associations with Alicia Kearns, MP, chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee, and former Defense Secretary and Security Minister Tom Tugendhat. The CCP's espionage activities against Western nations have been ongoing for many years, whether it is targeted bribery, stealing high-tech secrets, monitoring and intimidating dissidents abroad, influencing public opinion through extensive propaganda, or attempting political infiltration in Taiwan, America, Europe, or Latin America. All these activities serve a common ultimate goal: to make nations under the CCP control surpass the United States in various fields such as technology, military, economy, and global influence. However, unlike Russian spies who openly carry out assassination operations in Western countries, Chinese spies or hackers rarely employ aggressive methods. They do not make high-profile revelations of evidence unfavorable to certain politicians during Western elections. Instead, the CCP focuses on long-term goals, lurking and quietly probing for information, transmitting interests, and establishing long-term influence. Many political and business figures in Europe, America, and Australia have been co-opted to varying degrees as advocates for the CCP. This approach by the CCP in the long run has significant destabilizing potential. According to a survey of over 1,000 German companies conducted by the Mercator Institute for China Studies, approximately 730 of them experienced hacking attacks last year, with 42% of them being attacked at least once by hackers from China. In a recently disclosed secret report by the CIA, China's extensive efforts to exert influence in the United States are detailed. The report outlines actions by the CCP authorities, including directing funding to universities and policy research institutes in exchange for control over academic research. Senator Marco Rubio has previously called for educational institutions in Florida hosting 5 Confucius Institutes to cease their cooperation with these institutes. He stated to the Washington Free Beacon that Beijing takes advantage of American academic freedom to instill pro-China viewpoints in future leaders. The report by the Washington Free Beacon asserts that Confucius Institutes, managed by the Chinese Ministry of Education's Han Ban, are a part of Beijing's extensive overseas propaganda efforts, with the Chinese government investing approximately $10 billion annually in these endeavors. The CIA believes that China's propaganda department allocates billions of dollars each year, with $6.8 billion in 2016, to establish international media outlets to increase Chinese influence. Some employees of China's national media organizations in the United States are engaged in disseminating communist propaganda, often without registering as foreign agents. Some of these individuals are also known to serve Beijing's intelligence agencies. The CIA report also highlights the use of Chinese social media platform WeChat for espionage activities by the Chinese government. WeChat boasts over 1 billion users and has secured financing in the U.S. capital market. TikTok, on the other hand, emerged as a significant platform for influencing public opinion in the recent Taiwan elections. Yet American social media companies such as X, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram are banned from entering the Chinese market. Former U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who possesses a deep understanding of the CCP and maintains a clear perspective on its actions, is a rare figure in American politics. As a result, he has earned the ire of the CCP and was repeatedly labeled an enemy by China's Central Television during his tenure as U.S. Secretary of State. Pompeo believes that China dedicates no less effort than Russia to infiltrate Western nations, and China's vast resources enable it to pursue its agenda more aggressively. He calls for a united and more effective American response to prevent China from silently influencing the world. The CCP has spent decades actively engaged in a campaign to ensure that its desire for the demise of capitalism never dies. From the very birth of the Communist Manifesto, it was declared that the distinguishing feature of communism is not the abolition of general property, but the abolition of bourgeois property. Communists can summarize their theory in a single sentence: the abolition of private property. This demonstrates that the CCP's fundamental intent is clear. It is determined to pursue this course of action. It is foreseeable that in the long-standing struggle with the Western world led by the United States, the CCP will not relent in its ongoing efforts to infiltrate and influence Western nations through espionage activities. David Moore, a policy researcher in the UK Parliament and a China observer, emphasizes the importance of not fearing the actions of the CCP government. He provides a powerful perspective that can serve as a cognitive template for the West in countering CCP espionage activities. As Moore told Voice of America, "It's about time we crack down on Chinese espionage, whether it be trying to infiltrate our institutions or on our streets with Chinese police stations that have been operating across the Western world."